My first experience with Pluto was not with the anime. I read it 3 years ago till the second volume, I believe, where the story of the bitter old man Paul Duncan and North Number 2 was told. I loved that story, and for whatever reason I did not pursue reading it past that arc. And years later, watching this anime has made me realize what an absolute dummy I was to have dropped it. I knew Pluto was a highly acclaimed show, not only because every single person who experienced the story says it's really good, but the ratings also indicate that, so I had very high expectations when getting into the anime, which is the wrong thing to do because I'm risking my enjoyment of this show because I'm putting it on a pedestal, and guess what? It absolutely more than delivers. And when I say it more than delivers, I'm saying it's one of the best stories I've experienced. I know that's a bold claim, but I'm absolutely certain that this anime is up there. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I talk all things manga and anime, and without further ado, let's get back into it. The story starts with our main character Gesicht, who is a robot detective in this world where robots and humans coexist. Gesicht is one of the 7 robots who are the most technologically advanced to the point of being dubbed robots of mass destruction, and an event occurs that kickstarts the whole story, which is the murder of one of these 7 robots called Mont Blanc. And the journey that we go through of following Gesicht trying to capture the culprit was emotional, intriguing, and made you ask a lot of questions, which is what you want from a murder mystery. When one mystery gets resolved, a ton more questions pops up. And if you're familiar with Naoki Urasawa's work such as Monster and 20th Century Boys, you know how he's an absolute genius when writing mystery stories. He's a master of arousing that sense of wanting to know what's going on. He makes you ask a lot of questions, dropping breadcrumbs all over the place, which eventually converges into a single climax point. And it even explores philosophical themes such as what is to be a human? Is hate a necessary component for perfection? And the way how it deeply explores these themes and philosophies is its biggest strength. Pluto makes you ask the question of what it means to be human. It takes you there through the character of Gesicht, a detective who is obedient and does whatever tasks he's given, but then through a sequence of events we see him confronted with situations that pushes him to do certain things that a robot is not supposed to do. An event occurs that forces him to develop hatred, and this hatred makes him an advanced AI, a perfect AI, because in this story a perfect AI must be so close to humans that it must mean that the perfect AI must have a flaw, and this flaw is hate. To be human is not only to love but also to hate. Can we really be able to love if we can't even hate? Can the light exist without the darkness? Isn't the light that is in the darkest of places that shine the brightest? The story of Pluto doesn't just tell you a bleak things such as hate is a part of humans and it goes away into the sunset. No, it also emphasizes that acting on hate brings nothing, and the vice versa is true. Acting on love is bountiful, and this is one of the lessons that Gesicht learns, and it was just so done beautifully that it makes this story really special. I also want to touch upon an aspect of this story, the way it shows how the robots of this world are treated, such as them getting thrown into battles mercilessly and having them kill each other. Mind you, these robots have an advanced AI, but are still considered mere robots. How advanced should a robot be before we should consider treating them fairly like a human? Which is a question that we might be asking ourselves in real life, the way how AI is progressing. The depiction of how robots are just mere tools for humans, even though the robots we see in the story couldn't be anything less than a human through the way they behave, and we see the subtle ways this human treatment affects the robots was done very well. And seeing the reaction of robots such as Gesicht, those subtle moments, small they may have been, were very potent in conveying the emotions. One story that has really made me emotional in Pluto was the story of Paul Duncan and North Number 9. Paul Duncan is a musician who is past his prime and for all intents and purposes is very bitter. He lives alone and almost every time has a fallout with every single butler that is assigned to him. And now it's North Number 9's turn, one of these 7 robots who are considered the best in this world, and he had also participated in one of the major wars of this story, and he wants to learn the piano. But Paul Duncan, with his contempt for robots and how they are just machines who repeat patterns, detests robots and any creation from them. But North Number 9 persists to learn the piano and uses Duncan's piano, and there is a line from North Number 9 when he tells Mr. Duncan his reason for wanting to play the piano. He doesn't want to go back to the battlefield, and for me this was the scene that gave me a bit of a hint to what type of story that Pluto is going to be, and that it's going to be a really special story. From then on, the way Paul Duncan's and North Number 9's relationship slowly builds up, and the ending, it was very emotional and a well-written segment of Pluto that is just beautiful. The visuals are very stunning in the story. It is beautifully animated. I don't know if it's true, but I've heard that the people who are working on it worked on it for 6 years, and it's showing. It is a really gorgeous anime to watch, but unfortunately Netflix did this anime dirty. No one knows about it. It's literally one of the best anime out there and you barely hear any discussion about it. It's shambolic what has happened to this anime. It deserves much more love than this. It's a well-written story with amazing animation and no one talks about it. And I hope this video makes you check it out. That's all I have to say for today, and again, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button, and with that said, see you in the next one.